and welcome to Dare to Live with Mary Ajagbe. How are you doing? I am so pleased to have you listening to this podcast, and I am grateful for every single one of you listening in. Thank you so much. We are in the month of July, and I hope that your July has started very well on a great note. If it hasn't, well, it will do. It will still become better. Right now, welcome to the month of July again. And I know that I shared in the welcome note, the welcome episode of the podcast for the month of July, where I shared on what this month will entail, and it is about renewing your mind. Still, I started speaking about that from the month of June, but so you might find a little bit of dynamic change in the podcast for the month of June. But July is going to be addressing this a lot because I have a conference coming up the month of July, and so yes, hence why everything basically is speaking to renewing your mind, because the title of the conference is the regenerated mind, and it's also about the regenerated mind is also the renewal of mind, and the renewing of the mind, or yeah, basically that's what it means. And so today I want to talk about something very interesting. I use the word interesting because it is actually interesting. I want to talk about a personality that you carry with you everywhere that you go, and that shows up every single day. There's a personality that you carry with you everywhere that you go, and I want to talk about that personality. The personality that you carry with you, that shows up in every of your meetings, that shows up in everything that you do, basically. And that personality is, drum roll. I don't know if that's the sound of drum roll, but okay, drum roll. Your mind. Your mind. This is an amazing personality that you work with, that you do so many things with on a daily basis. Now, your mind is your greatest asset, one of your greatest assets. And it's very important that you are aware of this. And that's why I said it's a personality, because guess what? Your mind is a personality on its own, and it has two different aspects to it. It's got the positive aspect of it, and it's got the negative aspect of it. But you get to control this personality. And many of us have this personality running wild on its own, without control, without boundaries, without checks, without balances, and without also doing what? Updating this personality, right? And this personality seems to be at the core of every decision that we make, at the core of everything that we do. This personality is there, and it's your mind. And for a lot of people, their minds are just so, they've lost control of their mind. They're not even in control of their minds, and so wherever their minds take them to, they go, and it's not so good, right? And that's why I want to talk about your mind and you. So the first question is, your mind. What are you in control of your mind? That's the very first question. Are you in control of your mind, or your mind is in control of you? Which is it? Right? Because it matters so much who is in control. If your mind is in control of you, that it means that you would most likely be experiencing what I call pitfalls, right? The ups and the downs, and just going up and down without any check whatsoever. Now, if you are in control of your mind, then it obviously means that you are checkmating what it is that your mind is feeding on. You're checkmating the state, the health check of your mind. You're doing health checks with your mind, and just to be sure that your mind is in the right place, you're in the right frame of mind, and your mind has got itself together. Right? Why do I say that it is a personality of its own? Because it actually is a personality of its own. Without control, it is. It is. But if your mind is under your control, then it obviously means that you are in control of your mind, and you are the personality, you're the driver of your mind. And so the responsibility is on you to feed your mind right. Yes, your mind needs to be fed. It needs to be fed. And you get to determine what it is that you feed your mind on. And we're in such dire times that a lot of people are feeding their minds, don't even know that they need to feed their minds. There is that category of people. And then there is another category of people that are feeding their mind. They know they need to feed their mind, but are not feeding their minds on the right things. And so there's a book I wrote called The Thought Bank, right? It's like a piggy, the mind piggy vest, right? The thought bank, because your thoughts, that's where it travels through the mind. Positive thoughts, negative thoughts, it travels through your mind. Your thought is also like, it's like a pathway, right? Through it passes through your mind, and negative thoughts, positive thoughts, you get to determine which one gets to sit in and which one you get to act on. For instance, if you think about, oh, I need to do this, it's a thought, right? You get to decide, oh, is this thought the right thing, or is it the wrong thought, and how do I even know? A lot of people are not even aware of their own thoughts. So this again is the category of people that are living, their mind is just living wild on its own, living wild on its own, and carrying them to places that you don't even know, taking them to life destinations that they do not even know, because they are not even self-aware enough to even be able to pick out their thoughts. And your thoughts translate into your emotions, and it translates into feelings, and feelings also translates into actions. You get to act on them. If you find yourself constantly in a place where you're like, oh, why am I just always doing what I don't want to do, can we track it back to your thought process? Can we track it back to the things that you've been feeding on? Can we track it back to being in control of your mind? Because your mind is not meant to run AWOL on its own. It's not supposed to go AY on its own. It's supposed to be under control. It's supposed to have mind checks. What we do, health checks. The same way you go, if you find that there's a bodily function, in your body that is a function in your body that is not working right, what do? You go to the doctor, right? And you go and check it out. You go and check, you're having pains in your tummy, you go, and then you go and speak to a doctor. They tell you, oh, this is what needs to be done, or you're allergic to something, or this is what's happening in your tummy, something like that. There is always a diagnosis for every form, every organ in your body. And the same way with your mind. And we have people that are trained to also be able to help you diagnose what could be wrong. I'm a trained NLP, neuro linguistic practitioner. I'm a trained life coach. I'm a trained EFT practitioner, also emotional freedom technique practitioner, right? And so this is why I'm able to even share this insights with you. This is not just something that I read, but this is something that I'm also even using and experiencing in my own life, and even in the lives of the people around me, that I'm able to check that, okay, right? And so you need to take care. You need to do health checks with your mind. You need to take control of your mind. You have allowed it, and it's almost like if you have a bush, or you have plants growing in front of your house, and you do not take care of it, you are going to pass through that way, and you do not take care of it. What then happens is that it grows uninhibited. It grows and it keeps growing, and you find out that you literally have a bush right in front of you. But you have the responsibility that the moment you begin to see these things growing where they should not grow, you cut them off. And this is exactly what you do with unwanted, with negative thoughts, and thoughts that are not right, and are not supposed to sit right in your spirit and in your soul and in your mind, right? You cut them off. And the mind is such a powerful tool. It is so powerful. It is so powerful. Your mind is powerful. That's one of your biggest assets that the Lord has given to you. That's one of the biggest assets that God has given to you, your mind. But you have got to take responsibility for your mind. I used to be that way. I used to be such a very negative person. I used to be so negative that even the aura and energy around me was just so negative because my thoughts were negative. Everything I was thinking was just so negative, negative, negative. But from that person that I was to this person that I am, there's been a lot of work that has gone in prayers, trainings, healing rooms, so much that has gone in. But it first started with identifying that it was a problem with my mind. And so, my question to you as I round up today's session is, how healthy is your mind? How healthy is your mind? And I'm going to be sharing more on this in the coming episodes. So do stay tuned and listen, and please do share, this link with anyone that would need this, so that we spread this message of taking responsibility for our minds. Until next time, thank you for listening. My name is Mary Ajake.